Right, so I like to say Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakahagadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, and salutations to you brothers out there that's doing this work in truth and sincerity. So real quick, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude and the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations. It says, gather together, the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come a far country, Salaki. And it says, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation, to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand, it shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. It says, and they shall be afraid, plagues and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. It says, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So how the Lord is going to lay the land desolate? Well, let's find out. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 7, verse 12. And the scripture says, if he turn not, he will whet his sword. He have bent his bow and made it ready. And the bow represents what? The bow represents ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? And that's what these nations has been pretty much making or building or upgrading in order to use in a final battle to come, right? And as you can see here in the video, that's why the scriptures talk about 200,000, I believe, if I'm incorrect correctly, but that's 2 million missiles. And the reason why, and one thing you got to understand too, is that not all the missiles are nuclear missiles, right? You're going to have just regular ballistic missiles, coming from these different convoys that can shoot multiple missiles at their targets. And these missiles are going to have tracking devices built within them. So again, it says, if he turn not, he will whet his sword. He have bent his bow and made it ready. He have also prepared for him the instruments of death. He ordaineth his arrows against the prosecutors. Right? So let's go here in the book of Ezekiel. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 21, verse 8. Again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? It containeth the rod of my son as every tree. And he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it unto the hand of the slayer. Right? So let's get this. This is Deuteronomy chapter I want to say 32, verse 40, verse 45, I believe. No, let's see here. Was that Deuteronomy? Yeah, 42, my bad. 41, actually. Deuteronomy 32 and 41. If I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and I reward them that hate me. I will make mine arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, and that with the blood of the slain and of the captives, from the beginning of revengeance upon the enemies. It says, Rejoice, O ye nations, with his people, for he will avenge the blood of his servants, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be merciful unto the land, unto his land and to his people. So this is what's ultimately coming, man, is death and destruction. The Lord is bringing a lot of death into the world. And even before the nuclear missiles, the Lord is also going to bring death by famine, right? He's going to bring death by the sword, by one of the sword, which is the wicked. I believe that's Psalms, the 17th chapter, right? So there's going to be events that take place that's going to bring a lot of death before thermonuclear missiles, right? So let's grab this in the book of Jeremiah 16. So this is Jeremiah 16 and 4. It says, they shall die of grievous death, right? So let's look up this word grievous real quick. Grievous.
Strong's H8463. Tachalu.
Right, diseases, disease, sickness, grievous, right? Let me see if I can get the Strong's also. Let's see. Yeah, it says this is actually the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, which says to be sick, diseased, diseases. They shall die of diseases, those who are sick with famine. So again, before thermonuclear missiles, people are going to die of other causes. A grievous death is to die of a famine. The scripture says it is better to die by the sword than by hunger, because your body will literally eat itself because your brain will need the nutrients and everything in order for it to stay sustainable. But without those things, then you start to hallucinate and other things, and you practically at that point turn into a goddamn zombie, right? So again, it says they shall die, Jeremiah 16 and 4, they shall die of grievous deaths. And it says grievous, right? Grievous deaths, right? When you go into, I believe that's actually the 14th chapter. Let's go into the 14th chapter. It says, let's see. Let's see. The people's of whom Salakia, man. I can't seem to find that scripture. I thought it was in the 14th chapter, but it pretty much says that those that are for the captivity and for the oh, here it is. Jeremiah 15 and 1. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord, such as are for death to death, and such as are for the sword to the sword, and such as are for famine to the famine, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. So this is what the Lord is about to bring to the wicked and to 2/3 of you so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which is death, right? A lot of you are going to die by the sword, which is Esau, Edom. A lot of you are going to die, and the sword represents many things, not just Esau, Edom, but the sword also represents famine. The sword also represents thermonuclear missiles. The sword represents many things, You know, a lot of people are going to die in the racial wars. A lot of people are going to die in the famine. A lot of people are going to die in many ways. But what's going to trump all those things is the Most High bringing war, World War III, like it tells you in Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe has passed and the third woe coming quickly. And this is why you have these nations, you know, doing a lot of drills. Why you think there's so many drills being done around the world by these different nations like Russia, China, Japan, even the U.S. You know, Turkey is still buying up S-400 missiles, and now they're trying to buy hypersonic missiles as well, right? So these are the things you got going on, and the Lord tells you that in the book of Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 9. So let's get that real quick. And the scripture says, "For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon," Babylon being America, "an assembly of great nations." Those great nations is what? Russia, China, what else? You got Iran, right? You got Afghanistan, because a lot of these nations that are supposedly the U.S. allies, they're going to turn on them. You think that these nations have forgotten what the U.S. have brought unto their lands, which is death, right? "For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence shall she be taken. Their arrows shall be as a mighty expert man." See, the nations, the arrows that it's speaking about in here is thermonuclear missiles, right? It's thermonuclear missiles, because if you go back during the time of Babylon, when have all nations rised up against Babylon? The only nation that rised up against Babylon was the Persians, right? When the Persians had control over the Babylonian Empire. But you're not gonna see that Moab, Ammon, Esau, right? The Edomites. You're not gonna see that any of those nations had a part in the taking down of the Babylonian Empire. So this is a prophecy talking about a different Babylon, right? And that Babylon being America. And it says, again, "For lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain." So no arrows are going to return in vain. But I'm going to go ahead and end it from there and say Barakatah Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah. Lord willing, this was edifying. Shalom.